After all this time, we finally got our hands on a legendary trace rifle. Not just any legendary trace rifle though, one that's actually based on the original Halo Covenant Carbine rifle. It's the first randomly rolled trace rifle we've ever seen in Destiny 2, and it has some interesting perk combinations as well as a bunch of new perks that you should be chasing. We all love a bit of laser tag, but now it doesn't need you to burn an exotic slot. It's classed as an adaptive frame trace rifle, which I guess is the only archetype seen as it's on its own. It has a standard 94 in the magazine, which is normal for this type of legendary trace rifle, of which it's the only one. It does have a near perfect vertical recoil direction too, and it has excellent aim assist, which is offered by all of the one and only legendary trace rifles. It actually comes with some new battery options which we've never seen before, including tactical battery, which gives a small bump to range, stability and reload speed, arguably the only battery option you should be chasing after. Now this roll I've been looking to get actually somewhat reminds me of the exotic Prometheus lens, and you'll see exactly why. Subsistence is going to partially reload the magazine on kills, which with its recent buff it no longer eats away unnecessarily at your reserves, making it too a top perk option. Now arguably you could go for Frenzy in the final column, but keeping its uptime can be tricky to trigger consistently in my opinion, especially when you can use trace rifles like primary weapons when set up correctly. Golden Tricorn sounds exactly like the innuendo you think it sounds like, but in fact it's better. This brand spanking new Destiny branded perk breaks the fourth wall a little bit, but it'll also break your opponents. Final blows with this weapon grant bonus damage. This is a 10% damage boost which lasts for 7 seconds, but you can extend it further on kills as well as enhance it even further. Getting charged melee or grenade final blows matching the damage type whilst the buff is active greatly increases its damage and duration. This bumps it right up to a 50% damage boost and lasts for 10 seconds, shown by the Golden Tricorn ×2 buff. This roll here is basically the frame refraction and prismatic inferno perks from Prometheus lens, but on a smaller scale without the extended heat field. I really love how Bungie have rolled it back from an exotic version, and with it being a solar trace rifle, there's tons you can do with it. Path of the Burning Steps is the first thing that comes to mind. With its Firewalker buff on solo kills, you can really ramp up its damage output, with a 4x stack of Firewalker granting a 35% damage boost. This stacks with Golden Tricorn, making for a really potent all-round basic setup. But we're not basic bobs here, so chuck on elemental armaments and the Font of Might to grant a further 25% damage boost when collecting solar elemental wells. Elemental time dilation is going to boost the duration of the Font of Might buff too. I'd then recommend using the Well of Ordnance mod to grant bonus grenade energy when collecting solar wells. You can stack these mods to increase the effect, so chuck another mod on your setup too. All the Trace Rifle ammo finder and scavenger mods you can find and fit in will make a whole world of difference, making it so that you can just use this as your main weapon. Osmosis kinetic weapons are really going to help keep the uptime of Firewalker and elemental well creation to the max, as is the return of the King, Galahorn, in the heavy slot. I've got to say Code of the Devastator is the pick subclass wise, mainly for the throwing hammer melee ability which you can chain to keep the Golden Tricorn buff going, with the Thermite grenade probably being the most effective in terms of minimal cooldown time but good damage output to net consistent grenade kills as well. Bungie have already come out and stated in the latest TWAB that this one is setting the stage for other legendary trace rifles in the future. I know I'm excited to see this happen, but what do you think? Make sure to farm this from within the Days of Eternity activity and also using treasure keys on the chest at Xur's treasure hoard. If you want to know how to do over 2 million damage with the new exotic Galahorn, then check this video out shown here. I've shown you that it pairs perfectly with the Retraced Path, so why the hell not?